Now, with respect to the Hartle-Hawking model, what they do is not at all natural, I don't think, because it's true in special relativity.
It's used all the time in special relativity.
Well, I was going to comment on that before you interrupted. In special relativity, you have a pseudo-Euclidean space-time. And you can turn that, which means that it has a slight curvature. But you can turn that into a flat Euclidean space-time by substituting in imaginary values for the time coordinate. But all physicists recognize this as simply a mathematical trick. It's just a way of converting a pseudo-Euclidean geometry into a Euclidean geometry by using imaginary values for the time coordinate.
It's a physical mathematical trick, just as multiplying by some exponent raised to ikx will turn you into a wave function. It's a physical argument.
No, it's not a real description. You can't turn space-time itself from one sort of geometry into another just by changing the sign of the time coordinate. I mean, this is something you do on paper. It's an empirical matter whether or not time has a pseudo-Euclidean or Euclidean geometry, and you can't decide that question just by changing the sign of the variable in your equations.
There's no observation that is made at that point.
What?
Or there's no observation that can be made to say what happens. We have no theory that works at that point, nor do we have observation. So to make a theory that works in that regime, it's perfectly reasonable to take something that is a perfectly reasonable physical mathematical trick, if you will, and apply it to that.
So long as you understand that it is a mathematical trick, just as I said. And way back in 1920, Sir Arthur Eddington speculated on the substitution of imaginary numbers for real numbers in special relativity. And he said, this is just a mathematical device which has no ontological significance to it. It's just a different way of describing the same geometry. It's just a different description. Now, as Vic was saying, in quantum mechanics, when you do calculations with these complex numbers, you convert back to real numbers at the end to get some physically significant result. In Hawking's model, he just declines to convert back to real numbers. He keeps it in the imaginary regime. If you convert back to real numbers, presto, the singularity really appears. It reappears. It was really there all the time, but it's just concealed behind this mathematical trick of imaginary time.